welcome to another episode of DisruptEDTV. This week, I am joined by Daniel Cooper, who is the head of school at the Liger Leadership Academy down in Queenstown. Daniel, how are you?
Very well, Kia ora, Claire. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for joining me. I'm really excited for this opportunity for some of the DisruptEd community to learn a bit more about the Liger Leadership Academy, about the background and what you're working on at the moment. Can you start off by giving us a little bit of a background story of where it came from? Because obviously Liger isn't named after a New Zealand location. It's quite specific. And tell us a little bit about that story.
Absolutely, yes. So the Liger Leadership Academy was founded in Cambodia as a pilot school about 11 years ago. And the purpose then was to try to empower the young people in Cambodian society to be leaders, to get involved in the community, to work together, to go to the highest levels of the country, go to university, and then come back into Cambodian society and make a difference. So that pilot program over there is 100% scholarship, it's 100% boarding as well. And the founders of that school moved to Queenstown. So it was, let's try and bring that model to New Zealand, open it up as an independent school and see if New Zealand syncs with it and how we get on down here.
So in terms of that Cambodia campus, is that still there and running?
It is, yes. It's just really close to Phnom Penh. We actually took the whole school over there last year at the beginning of last year.
Amazing.
To connect with our Cambodian cousins and, just be much closer to the way that they roll out their education over there because they've had enormous success.
And I remember when I met the team from Liger, they were doing some incredible work with NASA. Are they still doing that partnership? I know that was something that was absolutely literally shooting for the stars type material. Is that something you've been able to connect with a bit as well?
We haven't connected with that yet, but it's still really strong over there. And actually the story of how it came about is kind of the story that we believe in and how that we are going to be who we're going to be. So a little team there was building an artificial reef, trying to kind of repopulate some of the fisheries down on the coast. And they were stopped by somebody on the beach saying, like, what are you doing? What's going on here? So they explained, this is what we're here for. This is what we're doing. This is what our school's about. And he said, well, I work for NASA and I want to get involved. Let me help you put a satellite into space. And so they jumped on that opportunity.
Yeah, so I know what really touched me and I really sort of had an affinity for was that focus on what we refer to as impact projects and project-based learning that was really about looking at what are the needs of your local community and what you could actually do to take action. So really exciting. I guess that's a big part of what you've brought over to your Queenstown Academy. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the story of how the Queenstown Academy started and where you're up to in that journey?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've just started year 3. So we're somewhat new, but we've definitely got our feet on the ground and moving forwards pretty quickly at the moment. Yeah, impact is really what it's about. It was something when I look back to my schooling in Christchurch, I guess that was something that was missing, that actual little piece of purpose to really push you into what you're doing. For us, it's about connecting with the community and the issues in the community and the people in the community. And when we start doing that, we really see opportunities to create impact, not just for ourselves, although that's a big part of it as well, but also so many out there as well. So genuine, authentic projects in the community that are really connected to real people. And we find that the kids are really motivated because they can see the impact and that they're making.
So in terms of your cohort that you've got at the moment, what is your age range and curriculum level and how many kids have you got on campus there?
Yep, so we're in a small kind of temporary campus at the moment in 5 Mile in Queenstown. We have big dreams, of course, and a big vision to expand, but currently we are just 3 year levels. We're year 9, 10 and 11. We'll grow year on year until we're a full secondary school starting in 2026. Where we are right now, we actually only have space for 65 kids and we're just over 40 right now.
Oh, wow. So that's a really exciting it's small enough that you can be that sort of real innovation hub and innovation lab and you can be really agile, but big enough that you've actually got a sense of a good few classrooms and a good number of students, because it's a fine line, isn't it, in terms of the number of students and the energy that students create?
Yeah, it's really important. We are a particular type of school that perhaps the learning model that we have here isn't good for everybody. But the kids that we do have at the moment, they're all in, and it's a real joy to be around all the enthusiasm and the buzz. And I think the piece really is their connection to the community. We work really hard on bringing people in and getting kids out. Last year we had over 100 community experts and industry experts come in and work with the kids. Now, I don't mean coming in and presenting to the kids or guest speakers. I mean actually coming in and connecting with the learning that the kids are doing. And that really motivates those in the community to come and share all their experience, but it really motivates the kids.
Awesome. So can you talk us through what a week looks like at Liger Leadership Academy? Like, is there a timetable? What does the curriculum structure look like? Like, what would I experience if I was a student at Liger Leadership?
Yeah, so we've blended together 4 different types of curriculum styles. So we have our essentials, which happen for 40% of the school week. And they are, the foundation learning in numeracy and literacy, science and health and PE. So they are run relatively traditionally, small classes. We're using the New Zealand curriculum. These are the subjects that will expand as they move through the school and will form the foundation of their pathway through NCEA. Then we have what I think is our most unique aspect to the model, which is the explorations. And they are also 40% of the kids' time. And they are those real world impact projects.
Awesome.
They get kids really connected. So they happen on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. And then on a Wednesday, this is a day that we have for expertise because, well, firstly, New Zealand's an amazing place with amazing people, but Queenstown really is a little ecosystem of incredible entrepreneurs and all kinds of different experts. So on a Wednesday, we bring people from the community in. They talk through the kids about what their role is, what their job is, the skills they've got, the pathway they had to get there. And then they set them a challenge from within that industry. And then for the next 4 Wednesdays, the kids work towards that with these guests as their mentors.
Yeah.
Then we bring in another panel of kind of experts to judge their creations. So yesterday, we just culminated for this term, and one of the groups was working on adding a feature to a mountain bike. And there was incredible ideas, and the 3D printer and the laser cutter were going full steam. And then people came in and really helped them with feedback on their pitches and, the process, the design thinking process that they've been through. So we think it's a really valuable time, the expertise, something quite unique.
This reminds me a little bit. I remember being at an international conference and they were talking, there was a woman out of Singapore, I think it was, talking about externships and about bringing industry leaders into schools and them setting challenges and then them supporting and coaching them. So the kids didn't have to go and, deliver mail in the context of a business. It was more that expertise coming in, but then responding to a very real industry challenge or problem and solving it. So I can see real elements of that you've worked through with that. And I can only imagine how it must sort of open the eyes of students to the possibilities of where they might go with their schooling as well.
Absolutely. I learned a long time ago that kids are amazing. And if you get out of their way and set up a good structure for them, then they're going to astound you. Yeah. So this is a kind of an ode to that, to say, yeah, let's get some of these amazing people in who've already had incredible journeys, have all the skills, all the expertise, and the kids really respond to it. And then we are there to support, but really we're kind of learning as well at the same time.
Yeah. So I'm guessing the expertise and experience of your teachers is really important. And obviously I know some of your team and we've met up and we've talked. I know when you were in your startup phase, we had some really cool conversations where our team got to meet your team. And I know that you've been working with Maury's come down and worked with you as well. Can you tell us a bit about your team and their background? Because I know some of them have some really interesting experiences as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're a small team, number one, but we're really connected. All of our team have got international experience. We have a number of internationals even. We think that's important too, to bring that to the table. So yeah, we have one of our founding facilitators was at the Think Global School, traveling around the world semester by semester to different cities around the world, working on projects in different cities. So bring absolutely invaluable knowledge of projects and also just of the real world and how to develop global citizens. Our science teacher is an absolute superstar who's taught in Africa and Asia and also here in New Zealand. He's a Canadian, but basically a Kiwi these days, an Irish comms teacher, and a couple of teachers from the North Island as well who've also had some international experience. It's not essential to have international experience, but I just find that it brings a different kind of a flavour. I'm a bit of an expat Kiwi teacher myself.
I think as well, what it can do is it probably means that you've got people who have got a mindset that isn't shackled by existing structures in New Zealand schools. Like, I think it's really important that people listening here today recognise that A, you're delivering the New Zealand curriculum, B, you're working towards NCEA, so you're not importing in international curriculum or structures. Your curriculum is really localised. And that you're a private independent school. So this is not my secret way of introducing charter schools to the DisruptEd channel. This is us talking about a school that's come in and is doing things differently. Can you talk a little bit about why it was so important that it was so founded in the New Zealand curriculum and our assessment structures? Because I'm sure other people would have come in and thought immediately to bring in international quals or something.
Yep. No, well, firstly, that pathway through NCEA, the New Zealand curriculum, fits really well with the Liger Learning Model. Secondly, we're here for New Zealanders. We want to develop New Zealanders to be successful in New Zealand. So that's why, bringing in this kind of slant to the New Zealand curriculum, just getting them to interact with it in different ways. We are not content specialists, even though we kind of are, but we certainly don't want our kids to think that. So we just say to them, especially in our projects, the answer's out there. What's your question? Who are you going to find out from? What are you going to ask them? When are they coming in? And that really empowers them to just be super active. So going through with NCEA was a decision that was really based in, we're in New Zealand and we're here for New Zealanders. So let's support what's going down because we think we can do it in different ways that's going to make it a little bit more engaging and exciting for the kids. And
on that front, you've obviously been in this really neat, privileged position where you're, the lead educator in a little startup. And, I remember from the days of even Hobsonville Point Secondary School, which was, more, not a traditional state school, but it was a state school. And we were working within that context. Knowing what you know now, if tomorrow you were to be appointed as a principal at a mainstream state school in New Zealand, what would you hope that those schools would do differently? Like, I think often you can't be it until you see it. So, I've always talked about the fact that working in many different contexts. So I started my career at Rangitoto College. I was at Takapuna Grammar, Auckland Girls Grammar, Epsom Girls Grammar, Hobsonville, and now at Albany Senior High School. One of my biggest learnings is that there's many ways to skin a cat, and that actually a lot of the barriers and the constructs and the stories we tell ourselves about what we can't do are artificial constructs. Like timetables, for instance, do not need to look like a 5x5, 4x5, 3, they don't need to look like that. And I often worry that our biggest barrier is not actually the ministry or NCEA or the curriculum. It's the fact that we're locked in mental models of what schooling looked like for us. So if you were given the opportunity to go take over a neighbourhood school as principal after the experience you've gone through over the last few years, what would be the sort of front of mind of what you'd want to achieve?
Well, I'm really lucky because I've taught in some amazing schools overseas that have been constantly looking to change. They've been constantly looking at the future and saying, what do we need to do now? And so it frustrated a lot of people because it was constant change, but they were moving towards the future that is coming to us. And so to apply that back to New Zealand, we can't hide from the future. We can't hide from what's coming in terms of technology and change and all the rest of it. For me, project-based learning, really true, amazing. That's grounded in the community, that is actually really connected to people, is really where it's at. And so one of those things we've been working at with Maury, and he's coming back again next week, is how we can really make NCA credits drop out of those projects that we do. So
we've got some stuff we can share with you as well.
I can't wait to
We're really on that journey of trying to credentialize our impact projects, because I don't know. I mean, I think with your school, people are opting to come to your very specific school, but for us as a larger state school, we're still having that ongoing conversation and slight challenge of trying to get people to understand the value. Like, I'm like you. I think it's actually it's the best thing we do. I think it's the best set of upskilling for young people in terms of understanding design thinking, understanding agile methodology, understanding how to solve very real problems in your own community, I think is the most powerful gift we can give these young people. But it's still that stumbling block because it's not within the traditional curriculum structure. And, you know, there aren't project-based learning NCA standards per se. It's a real challenge. So I'm really heartened to hear that's the thing that you would really take with you into any other school.
Absolutely. And just to be strong, because that is the way that I see education going, and understand that other people are not quite there yet. You know, maybe their minds are still in the education that they have, or that there's nothing really wrong with their child's education now. But, you know, we will always be, and I will always be really strong on, this is what I think the future is going to be. And I have all of these people and all of this research to back me up. And so this is what we're doing. And we may be ahead of our time, but I can see that this is the way that all schools need to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's exciting, and it's so important and so good to hear.
Yeah, but we still keep the essentials. Like, we still really keep, you know.
And it's never throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's my frustration. Like, so often people think that if you value focusing on teaching skills, or if you value project-based learning, somehow that you've thrown out the great canon of knowledge. You know, I'm an ex-English HOD. I understand the power of, you know, creating literate human beings going out into the world. And, you know, the same goes for being numerate, and the same goes for having an understanding of our local, you know, curriculum and context as well. I think it's really important for teachers as well to understand that even if your school isn't going big on impact projects and school-wide project-based learning, there's a lot that can be learned and applied pretty much in any classroom setting as well. So if you were to give some advice to a classroom teacher who maybe felt like they were a bit limited by the structures of this school, what would be some of your messages in terms of how you might apply a project-based learning mindset to your teaching, if that makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I guess the first thing would be to take them out for the day and walk them around the community that they live in, and understand that everything that happens is part of a bigger project that many people are part of, and people on different sides of. You know, the number one thing is kids are utterly amazing if we just get out of their way. And I think project-based learning allows us to do that. It allows us to stand side by side with them rather than in front of them. And I think when that happens, you really see learning in a different way, and you see progress in a different way.
And it feels to me like you're talking about that importance of, regardless of whether it's in project-based learning context or not, but of learner agency and supporting self-directed learning. Like, I've always been a big believer in the fact that if you think they can or think they can't, you're probably right, in terms of we often as teachers underestimate how capable students are. And we particularly get concerned because often kids will fail in the first attempt at becoming more agentic. And so people retrench back into more structured, direct, you know, like and don't get me wrong, direct instruction is really important. Like, I think there is absolutely a place for sharing your knowledge and your expertise, and group instruction has its place, absolutely. But that we often underestimate just how well students can lead their own learning if they're given the skills, the strategies.
Absolutely. And, you know, when I came over here to interview for the role, I came into one of their first shareations, the Liger shareation. Sharing and
shareation for me.
But it's a beautiful exhibition of learning. And it was when I was at that event and I saw the keenness and the interest and the motivation, and actually the depth of their understanding on a real variety of things and their ability to talk through the process that they've been in. And the product was there at the end, but a lot of it was about the failure and a lot of it was about the mistakes. And it was really there that you saw that failure and mistakes are such a massive part of learning. We embrace it here. Failing forwards is what it's about. I mean, and everybody...
Yes, you take the time to reflect on what you learn from it, hey? So you don't just fail and go, hurrah, I failed. It's like, actually, we failed. Why did we fail? You know, like what can we take away as a learning from this?
Yeah, exactly. How do I do it better next time? How do I change? Who else do I need? What other information do I need to get? What, you know, do I need to understand my customer more? What did I forget in my process? So yeah, that for sure.
So is sharation something that Liger Leadership Academy does quite regularly? Like, what does that look like in the context of their program?
Yep. So we do them at the end of each term. Sometimes we're doing in the middle of the term as well, where it's just only process. It's like, I don't have anything to show you apart from my thinking and some of the programs that we've used to kind of organize ourselves and to come forwards. But they're a great chance for kids just to celebrate the learning they've done. The community love it because they come and they see excitement. They come and they see things that they wish they had done when they were at school. So they're a big event, and we get lots and lots of people here, you know, invite schools in, the parents, the community, and it's 100% student run. Not one adult speaks the whole time, and that's a lot of the stuff we do as well, is we want to put our kids in front of everything. We want them to know how important it is that they are in charge of their learning, and we are here to support. We are not here to direct. We're not here to tell them what to do, to tell them off. We're here to support their ideas and their dreams. And of course, that means sometimes pushing them back onto the pathway, but that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think the trap that some people fall into with more self-directed learning and learner agency is they forget that actually enabling constraints are a big part of that, and upskilling young people as they enter that space, you know, and that it's not just about throwing them in the deep end and watching them flail around. It's about having constructs. You mentioned design thinking. Is that part of your explorations and project-based learning?
Yep, absolutely it is. Because we're working for people in the community, it's really important that we understand who they are and what's going on. You know, there's nothing worse, you know, all of those horror stories of NGOs moving into different countries around the world and saying, this is what you need. Well, we're the absolute opposite. We're like, you know, we need to figure out who are we working for? What is the issue? What is the problem? What are some ideas? And the kids embrace that and they love it. And it's been reinforced time and time and time again by the experts that we have coming in here, that actually that is really the basis that they use for everything that they do. So we're getting a head start because we do it for everything we do.
I do think, like, I tried to campaign, and I know there was Robert at Tauranga Boys that joined me in the campaign, and a whole lot of other people. When they were first starting to do the review of the NCA standards, we campaigned really hard for a suite of design thinking NCA standards that could exist as cross-curricular. I'm not going to give up on that dream.
No, don't. I'll join you.
I think there's more of us, as there becomes more of us doing this work, and particularly as you enter your NCA years, I wonder if it's an opportunity to pick that conversation up again with the ministry and with NZQA and just say, look, I mean, you know, I have this feeling that we've got a prescribed syllabus coming our way in terms of a curriculum. Like there's a whole lot of signals that suggest that's the direction we're heading into. Okay, all well and good. I mean, I think for the most part, we can still take that and we can deliver it in the way that we see fit. But, you know, I do actually think if we're going to talk about no learning left to chance and what's really important, learning about design thinking in a really rigorous way and understanding each step of that process. We know it's not linear, you know, we know we dive in and out of each of those stages. What an opportunity to do both and. So, yep, if it floats their boat to have a prescribed syllabus, so be it. Let's make sure within that prescribed syllabus, there's actually some future-facing skill sets and structures. So maybe this could be round 2 of that campaign. Are you on board, Daniel?
I'm 100% on board. I mean, that absolutely has to happen for the young people of New Zealand, right? I mean, the future is coming at us, and it's not being able to regurgitate what somebody at the front of the room is saying to you. It's about being involved.
Yeah, and
through these processes.
And you know, and neither of us are belittling numeracy, literacy, all of those really important basics. That's absolutely got to be at the heart of what we're doing, but it's got to be both and. It's got to be both and. And the other thing that we were just chatting about before we started this official interview is the idea of maybe a bit of a DisruptEd meetup later in the year. So I'm going to put that kernel out into the universe so we commit to it.
100%. I mean, my whole thing is that I don't know. But I know people who can help me. And so DisruptEd down in Queenstown, we would love to host, and I'd love to be involved, and I'd love to hear some of the amazing stuff going on.
I think we've got a ball rolling, and so I really look forward to. We'll pick up this conversation over the next few weeks, because I think term 3, maybe a weekend sort of unconference style thing, could be absolutely epic, and enough time for people to maybe plan for being able to join us. Can I just say a massive thank you, Daniel? In terms of if people want to learn more and reach out to you, because I have a feeling people will watch this, it might have been the first time that they've heard about Liger Leadership Academy. What's the best way to get in touch and find out more?
Yep, well, we've just had our website will be refreshed in the next kind of 48 hours. It's about to go live for a second time, so there's you can get through that now. I know. But otherwise, a phone call to the office or an email to me at d.cooper@ligeracademy.org.nz. I would love to hear from you, and let's build this amazing community that already exists, and let's just make it bigger and stronger, and let's get kids innovative and get kids in the real world, right? Yeah.
And it's not about being competitive between schools, I think the more we all join up together and the more we share our failures, our successes, our learnings, I mean, regardless of what happens at a national level, it's in our hands as teachers and leaders to just get on and do the stuff that we know is important for our young people. So in closing, any advice you want to leave any teachers or educators that are listening to this today?
Well, you know, we are on the cusp of something amazing, I think, in New Zealand, because New Zealanders are amazing people. Our young people are so incredible. And so it's time to put a type of education in front of them that they can really cling on to and get involved with, and learn to fail and learn to do things for themselves. And we are here to support and to guide. And if you're keen on doing that and want to be involved in a new style of education, we would love to hear from you down here in Liger, because we got grand visions for the future. And we need everyone we can get.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. That's just the sort of uplifting message we need as we stare down the barrel of the end of term 1 here in New Zealand.
I know. Thank you so much. It's lovely to see you again. Maybe I'll see you at the ISNZ conference later in the beginning of May, maybe.
I'm thinking I might need to investigate. It sounds. I think I might need to. I need to come and visit at the very least. But once again, thank you, Daniel, for joining us here this morning, and to anyone who's still listening, thank you for joining us here on DisruptEDTV. As always, if you have a suggestion or you'd like to join the conversation, please reach out. Until next time, have a fantastic week ahead. Ka kite.
Ka kite.